Okay. So before getting into OI, I want to discuss support and resistance with you all. And I would request you, you please give me your idea what is a support and what is a resistance, right? Anybody can just tell me what is a support or what do you consider as a support? Okay, so if you guys, okay, then I'll just myself I'll go about what is a support and resistance. Uh, there are two levels, let's say, right? And prices are moving inside this frame, right? What do you normally say? This is a resistance and this is a support. Now, what is a support and what is a resistance? Support is the area from where the prices, you know, bounced back. In other words, there was a support. The prices were supported. And same ways, what is a resistance? Resistance, yeah, supply and demand, Mr. Bhanu has said. So, and resistance is the area from where the prices were rejected from the upside, right? So, a few days back, I sent one a simple quote which which I follow. A support is not a support because the prices will jump from there. A support is a support because the buyers were present there. In the earlier instances, whenever the prices reached that level, buyers were present. And when the buyers come into force, they reject that price area. So they get into buying and the price rejects that level. Same way, if you have a support and in your mind you have a preconceived notion that the price when it reaches support, it is going to take a bounce. So that is the wrong way of understanding it. A support is a support because buyers are present, and it is not the other way that because it is a support the buyers will come into play. So when you think that it is going to act as a support, the buyers should show up. That is the basic concept of supply and demand. When the prices get into a demand zone, some demand zone is nothing but your support zone, right? This one, when the prices get into your demand zone, the demand should appear. And if the demand does not appear, what does it mean? That support is very weak. The buyers are not present. Yes, I mean the volume should come up. Yes, Mr. Yunus. uh, okay, just hold on to this thought once. Okay, the support is an area where buyers were active, and the support is to hold, then the buyers should again show up. Because if there is some support or there is some resistance, it is not like that the resistance is never broken. It is always broken. That is why when the prices move, when the prices move, let me take one pencil. Okay, when the prices move, huh? The prices move, what they do is they break the support, break the resistance, and then they come back and it becomes a support. So breaks do happen, but how can you judge the break will happen? It is by the volume, right? The volume shows you what is the strength of that particular support or resistance. I shared one just a minute. I shared one this picture, right? This is way back I had penned down some of my thoughts. So at point A, you see, there's a lot of volume, right? If I tell you that lot of volume generally means there is a big player who's playing into big quantities. You and me, like I only what I do is I can buy 100 units, 500 units, maybe, right? That is what all appetite I have because I am a retail trader. That is what my pocket allows. But if some such big volume has occurred, that means there was some big player you can say, or there was a consensus amongst many players. Consensus means so everybody was ready to buy. Now, why do I say that it was a buying? If I tell you that you are a big player and you're buying, let's suppose 1 lakh quantity, will you allow the prices to go up? Or in the other words, will you not make sure that the support doesn't hold? if you're selling it into this area, you will see whether there is demand or not. If the prices have been rejected from this area on a big volume, that means it was buying. Because at every level, if a trade takes place, it is both buying and selling, right? It is not like that only buying was present here. What we can say is buying was more aggressive. That is why the price is put higher, right? So at point A, I know there is a lot of demand at point A because there was a lot of volume. And I'll show you this example in live chart also. If you guys, have some doubt that, whatever I'm telling you is not there in the classical technical analysis book, what are you saying? So I'll show you that. Okay. And when the prices went up at B, this was previous resistance. So even if there was a high volume at this previous peak, right? The prices went here at B. Now, if this resistance has to act as resistance, as I said earlier, the volume should show up. The big player should show up. Otherwise, he's letting somebody else into his territory. Since they were not strong, what happened? The buyers, they waited for some time, right? They wait to check whether selling is present or not. If at this level, the volume is low, what will you say? That buyers are present or sellers are absent? What will you say? This is the area where sellers have to show their hand, right? This is the area where sellers have to show their hand. If they do not show their hand, and if they let the prices, you know, go inside their territory, what does it mean? It means that, the buyers, the demand here was pretty high. So this is a uptrend. This is where the uptrend starts. There is a concept by the Wyckoff, right? It is similar to what I'm saying. I have made little modifications to that concept, but most importantly, whatever he said is true and holds still in this world and current times, right? If you read this, whatever I have told you is what I mean. So now, if I ask you at B, once we have broken this, what is the good point to enter? Will you enter before B? No, because you don't know whether the resistance will show up or not, the volume at a resistance. But once that resistance is taken, yes, you can enter. But then again, it is a breakout trade. You don't know. Maybe the buyer at A, at this breakout because he's getting an easy exit. Maybe he exits. So you have to find areas where the buyer again shows up, and those are the areas generally 55, the golden zone. I will not get into details of this. This is how a setup can be prepared, and you can design your own setup. But I gave you just one idea here because next I'll relate it to your OI. Now let's suppose I am a big buyer at A. This is, let's suppose this is a normal chart. At A, there is a lot of demand is available, right? Do you agree with me that a lot of put selling would also happen here? Because I know that this area is holding well with so much of volume. This area is holding. I know the prices are not going to go down. If I'm a big money, will I not be selling puts below this strike? First of all, are we clear about what is OI, open interest? We are a very small batch, so we can have one-on-one interaction. You guys can unmute yourself, right? Because otherwise this session is of not much help, right? Yeah, going by the same logic, this is a resistance, this is one support, and maybe here below it was a range, so this is a big support, right? Sorry for the bad quality drawing, right? So anybody wants to add anything, or should I just continue? Either everything is very clear or nothing is clear. Guys?
It's clear, Sunny.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the confirmation. Right. So now I tell you there is one uptrend. Okay, before that, let's talk about OI. You know, if I tell you, will you not agree with me that selling any option requires a lot of margin in uh, and as compared to buying, right? Same. If I tell you that one OI, how is an OI created? Open interest. How is it created? A new contract is created where there is a buyer, there is a seller, right? And if there is lot of OI, will you not agree with me? Then some big player is here who has sold so many contracts. Some big player with deep pockets, so he is able to give that margin. A Nifty contract margin you need around 1 lakh to sell, maybe around, right? Whereas buying you may only need 2,000 rupees. Call put, just for example. Will you not agree that some big player is there? So high OI, high open interest, maybe call, maybe put, is a big player. When I say a big player, it can be uh, many big players together, many medium-sized players together, but there is a consensus. What I mean to say is there is a consensus. So now if I have an uptrend and you are a big player, what would you prefer? You will prefer selling puts more than calls. Of course, you will sell calls also because there is time decay. So there are other factors, but then you'll prefer more selling puts than calls. Yes. So I'm explaining, and I'm breaking it down in a very simple language, right? A new contract is created when there is a buyer and a seller. Seller needs to pay high margin. If seller is ready to sell, and it is like a lot of risk also if the position goes against you, right? They say the seller has unlimited risk and a limited profit. So if somebody is going to do that, uh, he needs to be very sure that his position in the market is correct. And how he's deciding that is based on the price action chart. I tell you, no big player, and I'm telling you this with experience, no big player uses uh, your normal EMAs or MACD or no. It's all price action. I'm telling you, it's all price action. And further, they know more details into, yeah, as somebody has just said, they make charts. They're not reading charts. They're not reading charts. They have taken their stand and they have taken their positions long before then we get to notice anything, right? How you can decide is by the volume, because if they're trading into something, it will show up in the volume. It is up to you how you interpret. I'll show you 2 3 examples. You don't take my word. And this class is not any trading class that I tell you how to trade. No, but I'm just showing you the part which is important when you're relating it to the OI. Okay. So we agree here that high OI means the big player is present, right? So, and since I have told you this is a support, this will most likely act as a support and this most likely act as a resistance. Will you not agree with me that the OI at this strikes will be high as compared to uh, middle strikes, because they know that this is most likely going to cross. But here is the chart boundary. Also, one more I like to add, that most of the trades, whatever you are trading, whichever time frame, time frames is like a map to the moving prices, the ticks. So whatever time frame you're comfortable trading, uh, whatever time frame you are trading, the OI, the OI change is happening real time because of the support and the resistance, right? So if it is trending up, what I'll do is, as a big player, I'll be selling more puts than calls, right? So if puts are greater than calls in terms of OI, I'm sorry for the very bad handwriting. Puts are greater than the calls. Will you not agree with me, that there is a consensus that the prices are going to move up, right? So I'm here when I say puts and the calls, I'm talking about the total puts and the total calls, not any particular strike. because if I have a lot of money and I'm going a big way into the market, I will ensure that any adverse move doesn't affect my position badly. So what I'll do is I'll select this strike also, and then maybe if there was a consolidation range below this, I will sell more puts. I will try to keep a backup here at the resistance. I'll try to sell less calls, but yes, good amount of calls. As compared to the puts, there will be less, but other strikes, some, because I know there is a very classical technical analysis move that there's be a measured move from here to here. It was this much, so from here to here it will be again this much. And by the way, how does it come from? It is the 45-degree angle of the move, right? So just let's not get into details of all the analysis and all. So with this knowledge, let me just bring up the OI tracker with you, right? So many people want to understand what is this chart, what is happening inside this chart, and how is it useful. So just a minute. What I'll do is, give me 1 second. I'll yes. So this is the OI tracker, right? So what I'll do is I'll take a snapshot of this and okay, copy and paint. Right, so this is the OI tracker chart. Now, first, let me explain how the data is arranged on this plot. Right, on the top, you see there is. Let me zoom in. Okay, on the top, if you see, this is Bank Nifty. The expiry is mentioned at 2nd September. So this is the weekly expiry, right? So this is a weekly expiry. The blue line is the total calls. The blue line is total calls, and red line is the total puts. The calls and the puts data is axis is this one here, right? So this is the axis, and the black line here, this one is the difference of put minus call, right? And the data for this is represented here. Axis is this one. So here I've written like the legend for difference in P minus C. So this calls and puts is the calls and puts at the current position, right? So at the start of the day, 9:15, the data which is displayed here is the overnight calls and puts that were outstanding, the contracts, right? And this total COI means total change in OI calls, change in OI puts, right? So this is the intraday. This was the positional, you can say, and this is the intraday. So any change, so this plot, if you check the OI tracker channel, this plot starts from zero at the start because there is no change. Then there is a movement, and according to that, this chart moves. So this is intraday positions, and this is your positional, right? Same, the data is for the last point is displayed. Axis is same as above one, and here we have like the max pain. Max pain is red. You can see the underlying is in dashed black, right? And a value is shown here, and the PCR value is the blue one, right? The axis is this one, right? Now, I hope you're clear with what PCR is and what max pain is. PCR is your put call ratio, right? And max pain is the level where the sellers are going to have the maximum profit. So that is max pain, pain for the retail people, right? You can take it like max pain acts like a magnet, right? If the prices are too far from the max pain, the prices are eventually gonna come back to it, right? But it does not mean that expiry will happen at max pain level. It never, most of the times it happens, or many times it does not happen. It is just a magnet. So if you see here, clearly you have seen uh, uh, the prices, the black prices were, coming back to the max pain level again and again. Once they went far, again they retraced. Now, if I tell you that, if the max pain level is rising, that means it is very bullish. The max pain, the level, the neutral level is also rising. And then if at this point the maximum level had risen, you would know that this up move holds good. But if it did not happen, then we are sure that it is going to retrace. So this is one of the ways of understanding it. Again, my understanding may be different from somebody else. So if you guys do not agree with me, then please stop me any time and share your experience. So somebody has just written, is it possible to add PCR for volume 2? Sir, for uh, I can do that. I can do that, but for options, it's generally because this is for option data. This is not for the futures data. This is total calls of all the option strikes. So let me clarify. This is not futures data, right? So and that for volume for future options data will not mean much, right? We are really interested into why, if the big money is adding to positions or they are closing the positions. That is more important. The meeting will end in 10 minutes, and then I will share one more link. Okay. So with this knowledge, if I now see that the P minus C is negative based on what earlier discussions I had, this means there are more calls than puts. Agreed? That means the smart money is writing more calls as compared to puts. That means they're thinking the prices are not going to go very far. Now, the realistically whether this is going to hold or not, you can judge by the difference. Here it is only 3,000. It's not much of a difference. But if I tell you this is 48, 4 lakh 85, and this is only 1 lakh, so clearly you will have a situation where you know the direction, right? Same. So this was the positional. Now in the intraday here, if something like this. So if I tell you, okay, just this is the understanding which we have. Now if I tell you that you tell me uh, if some big money, you know if some big money is writing for Nifty, let's have Nifty chart. Okay, okay, Nifty. So if I tell you some big money uh, at this level, okay, at this level, forget about the time frame. I'm just for the discussion, I'm telling you this. Forget about the time frame. At this level, big money was writing too many calls, right? At this level, do we have we have one arrow also. Okay. So at this level, big money was writing too many calls, right? But then the prices have crossed this level, right? The prices have crossed this level. I'm very bad at it. Sorry. If you are big money, what will you do? Most likely what you'll do is you'll close your positions at this level, right? And by smart money, I never mean that there is just one person. There are many smart monies, there are many DIIs, there are many FIIs, there are many big players and big traders, right? So what somebody sitting from here, he's the bullish guy. Somebody is from up here, he's the bearish guy. What he'll do is he'll close his positions. Now if he's closing his positions, where will it reflect? You can see that OI change at this strike, whatever this strike is. Agree? And simultaneously you will see that drop here because the positions are closed. If only few positions are being closed, then you are sure that no, he's not changing his view, right? Now what is the use of this chart? You can clearly see from the OI change a particular strike. What if I tell you that this guy, he's he's properly hedged. Now instead of this resistance, he has shifted his strikes to this resistance, equal number, because he still thinks, okay, he has that price has crossed this level, but I don't see any volume follow up and I don't see any aggressiveness in the buyers. So most likely the contracts will not expire beyond this level. What he'll do is he'll shift all his sold calls here to this calls. So if he has sold few contracts and he has created new contracts, will there be any change in this or in this? So the benefit of using this chart is it shows you whether the contracts, they're actually being changed or they're just being shifted, and that will be reflected in your this OI snapshots also, which I've recently started sending out, right? I'll get into snapshots after this. So in the strikes also, you'll see, okay, the contracts are being shifted to one strike to the other. Now all this data, whatever we are discussing now right now, You should never think that this will give you a trade. No, these are only data points. They will, the basic concept of trading is you have to first make a view. My view is the market is bullish. My view is from here I can get into the trade and I'm going to have a good leg up, right? Now I will come back to this data, whether this data is supporting my concept or not. At every point it should support. If I'm bullish and I'm saying okay, the market is going to rise from here, that means the more puts should be written at a particular strike. If I'm saying that, yeah, entry should be your own. This is only data points. This is a confirmation bias. If I'm saying okay, this is the chart is bullish, and the if I tell you in the Nifty the chart is bullish, somewhere here, and I want to enter, and if I see the no, even if there is a price movement towards this resistance, the OI is not changing at this resistance level. What does it tell you? So maybe there are sellers sitting, they are waiting for good prices, for the prices to come here. And once you have a breakout is the biggest traps in trading happen at breakout. I'll show you one way of entering the breakouts. That is not part of this session today, but there's a one recent addition to my portfolio which I've taken. So I'll show you and I'll tell you the reason also for that. Right. So breakouts are the excellent way for the big money to exit their existing positions. If the OI is not changing, if the calls are not being closed, you know somewhere that maybe your thought was correct, but it is not the time right now. And on the other hand, if I tell you that this is bullish, and suddenly the prices start moving, and you see, the call open interest has been closed, the calls are reducing. It confirms your bias. It confirms your bias, and the probability of winning again increases. Trading is all a probability game, right? So this much, sir, you will agree with me. And based on this idea, the OI tracker is clear. Now, what we have done is, along with this, just a minute, along with this premium, okay, yeah. So this table also we have started sending. This is only the intraday. So this is just telling you bullish, bullish, bullish. You really don't need this much of data, but it helps in a visual way. So this is data is also available, and the difference also you can compare whether this is too much difference or very little, and how the range has been. So this is all about OI tracker, right? Shall I take up the OI snapshot? And I'll show you one example, right? We just have 2 minutes for this particular session. If there is any query, please have some query. It will show me that, I am sharing something good with you. And if you have a counterpoint, please tell me. Greek thing, I'll just take up, sir. This session will close in 2 minutes. Greeks, oh, I can just tell you the Greeks again, since I expect you to have a basic understanding. So these Greeks are for the calls and the puts, basic Greeks. Now there is a concept of, uh, volatility curve. No? So if on the put side, the volatility is high, IV is the volatility. The put side volatility is high, but the call side you're not having that much of volatility. What do you suggest from that? That somebody is ready to pay a lot of price of buying the puts. This is the implied volatility. This is not a volatility. There's a difference between the two. Normal volatility is defined by the change in the prices. Implied volatility tells you how much the members, the traders are ready to pay, even if it is not maybe the underlying is not changing that much. It is not volatile, but if the prices are rising, that shows you that there is an expectation, and they're ready to pay more, right? It generally happens close to your events. So based on the volatility levels, you can decide whether you want to be a seller. There are many ways of trading a bullish position. You can have a bearish put spread, a bullish put spread, where you are selling the next put and buying the farther one, because the prices are going. So if the volatility is high, obviously those spreads are beneficial, because ultimately the volatility subside, and it will add on to your profits. So for that, the puts you can see, and there is a straddle system also. For that, you can see what is the delta. So generally, point below 0.2, 0.3 is the preference for the strikes. You can visually you can see what strikes we should be selling for the straddles or strangles, right? So this data shows you that, and theta and vega again, the this is time and this is volatility, right? So I hope basics you have that understanding. So this is just added information. Yeah, because the time is 15:30 because this is continuously being sent to the group. So it was sent at 3:30. So every 5 minutes this chart is being sent, right? I think you're referring to the last day. Last day there was some problem with the calculation. So that I'll check. Otherwise, every 5 minutes the data is being updated. Okay. So I'll create one more session. Please join.